Today is March the 19th, 2024. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. With me today is Dr. Ed Arquitt, a professor emeritus of OSU, came in 1970 and retired in 2005 in the Department of Sociology, right?
Right.
And in that interim, too, Ed also helped establish OLLI at OSU, serving as the Emeriti Association's representative to OLLI's board from the get-go, really, until 2020.
Still there.
Oh, you're still there? Okay. I thought 2023, maybe you had stepped aside, but we'll get to that.
I've tried.
You tried, okay. Fair enough. We'll get to OLLI in just a little while. We're in Stillwater, Oklahoma, on the OSU campus, and this interview will be part of the Stories from Oklahoma State University Oral History collection. And today we'll focus on OLLI a little bit later, but we're going to learn about Ed's life before he came to OSU. So start wherever you like.
Okay. Well, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
In 1942 on a hot day in June. So my mom says. And when I was 5 years old, my parents moved to Sedalia, Missouri, along with my younger sister and me. And so I basically grew up in Sedalia. I was there from kindergarten until I left home after my senior year, graduation from Smith Cotton High School, headed back to college. And my plan at that time was to be a minister of music. So I was a music major. I went to a little school in Jackson, Tennessee called Union University. Now it's a much bigger school. And got my 4 years there. In the process, I moved probably 5 different majors until I finally found myself in sociology. Okay. And ended up getting my bachelor's degree in sociology. That was 1964.
Okay.
Then at that time, I really didn't know where I was going. I had lots of opportunities. Vietnam was getting increasingly more present in our lives. So I thought, well, I guess I'll just go to graduate school. So I ended up going to graduate school at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville to get a master's degree. I got there, got my master's degree, and decided that my option was joining the Army and going to Vietnam or getting a PhD. And I was offered the opportunity for a PhD, so I took it. So I used to tell my students, I got a PhD because of the Vietnam War. That's not totally true, but it makes a good story. And when I finished my degree there in 1970, actually ABD, what we call all but dissertation, okay. I got the opportunity to come to Oklahoma State University, a place I never imagined living. And my wife and I headed this way from the rolling hills of Knoxville, almost kind of mountainous rolling hills, to the rolling hills of Oklahoma. And thought, oh, we'll be here for about 4 years and head back east. Well, 54 years later, here we are. I joined the Department of Sociology. I did a lot of different things, teaching, research. I did a lot of advising of students. I got a few grants along the way, and one that was particularly impacting on me was a grant from the National Science Foundation, which was a student-originated grant to really get students to learn more about doing research. We got funded by NSF. So summer, I can't remember the exact date, but in the 70s, probably 74, 75, something like that. Okay. We got the grant. It was an opportunity, again, for students to learn to do research. We brought 20 older adults on campus to spend all summer on campus, staying in the dorms, along with 20 identified what we call surrogate grandchildren, which were students here at OSU. And so they spent all that time in the process. What we were doing was collecting data, kind of pre-data, in which we got information about how students felt about older people and how older people felt about students. Then we did a post collection of data, as well as a lot of stuff in between. Post collection of data, asking much the same kind of thing, to see if their involvement with each other would have an impact on attitudes of each toward the other age group. And we did find statistically a very significant relationship between interaction between age groups and their more positive perception of the other group.
Well, that's good.
And that's a very, we found that same kind of a thing in terms of race relations, in terms of all kinds of things. So, the point being that when people are involved with each other, they develop very positive relationships with each other. When they're not, they don't know anything about that other group except what they hear. They maintain sort of, in many cases, kind of negative stereotypes. Yeah. So that was my introduction from urban sociology into teaching sociology of aging ultimately and doing research in that area. Following that year, I did a presentation in Washington, D.C. On our findings. And after my presentation, a person came up to me from Boston and said, we are starting a program called Elderhostel. And we need someone to develop that program in each of the 50 states. Would you be willing to organize that for Oklahoma? And my initial reaction was, oh, why would I do that? There's so many other things I need to be doing. But as I thought about it, I thought, well, that'd be an interesting thing to do. So I became very much involved in what we used to call extension, or developing programs for non-students. Okay. So we started Elderhostel, and that was a program where our older adults would go to campus for a week and take usually 3 courses. And during that time, they just enjoyed learning for the fun of it. That became a very successful program nationally, even internationally now. It's now called Rhodes Scholar. It changed its name a few years ago.
I wondered, yeah.
Yeah, but now there are really hundreds of thousands of people who are involved in that. But I think by the first year we charged them $60 for the week. And they stayed in the dorms and enjoyed taking 3 courses. And we were one of the first programs to develop thematic courses. And so we developed courses on the medieval world, and had someone teaching about medieval music, someone teaching about medieval history, and someone teaching about medieval literature. And then we went on and developed many other different kinds of programs like that, which is one of the ways that we drew people from all over, including many from the East and West Coast, to Oklahoma, as opposed to them going some other place that they consider much more exotic. So our program brought them here. I did that for about 17 years. Wow. And we developed a pretty good program here in Oklahoma. I think we had 20 campuses involved, which is what I was responsible for, developing these programs at all these campuses all over the state. We did that, and then I continued to be very involved in the national office. We met at least once a year in either Boston or some other place, sometimes pretty interesting places. I remember one time we met in London for our annual getting together. It was all the state directors got together along with the national staff. So we did that, and then I finally turned that over to someone else and continued to do my department head work and other things. And then retired in 05, 06, somewhere around there. I always thought it was 05. But, and from there, I got involved. Well, we have what we call the Emeriti group on campus, which is basically made up of retired faculty, staff, and actually anybody who wants to join. We have some Stillwater people particularly that are members of it, but that are not really, they were never directly involved in OSU. But if you live in Stillwater, you're always involved in some way with OSU because OSU in some ways is Stillwater.
Yep.
But then about 06 or something like that, I was asked by the president of Emeriti if I would be willing to chair a committee that would begin a educational program for OLLI.
Okay.
So I got together with a few other people, and we finally developed what we thought would be a reasonably good thing, and we called it SOL, Stillwater Academy for Lifelong Learning. And just a year or two after that, a program called Osher Lifelong Learning evolved. It's headquartered in San Francisco, and a man by the name of Bernard Osher decided that he's a multi-millionaire, probably a billionaire. He decided that he wanted to make sure that we had a very good educational program for older adults in every state in the United States. So I thought, well, I think I'll just look into that. And it just so happens, because of my Elderhostel experience, that I knew people who were involved in this program. So I called one of my friends. I said, what would you think about Oklahoma State University in Stillwater becoming a center for Osher Lifelong Learning? Well, Stillwater's a little too small, I think. I said, well, we have multi-campuses, so we will develop a program where we will have programs going in Stillwater and Oklahoma City and Tulsa to begin with. And I wrote the grant up and sent it to the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, and they funded us. They gave us $500,000 to develop the program with the promise that if you reach 500 members, we will give you an endowment of $1 million. So that sounds pretty good. We did reach our 500 members. We got our $1 million endowment. And then they said, if you reach 1,000 members, we'll give you another $1 million endowment. And so we did reach our 1,000 members and got our second $1 million endowment. So Osher has sponsored us to the tune of $2.5 billion over the years. And of course, with an endowment, that money goes, it's at the foundation, the OSU Foundation, and what we do is we are able to use the interest that comes off of that, but we don't touch the $2 million. And that's certainly not enough to support the program, but it's a good start. So then we did develop the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. We now offer it at 4 different sites: Stillwater, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Bartlesville. When I wrote the grant or the proposal, my goal was to have opportunities available in all 77 counties. I think it's 77.
It is.
All 77 counties of Oklahoma. And part of the grant writing was that we can do that because we are the land grant institution, and we have representatives in every county through the extension program. So we've done, and we are, we haven't gotten to all 77 counties yet. And of course, COVID had a huge impact on us. We now have a membership of about 400 and still trying to rebuild. But that time was just destructive of many institutions. Churches, lots of voluntary associations all over. Well, we're slowly coming out and getting back to where we want to be, where we have been. And I think we will get there. But one of the positive things that came out is during that, we were not able to meet our program in person for those years of COVID. So we developed a program where we could reach out through Zoom or whatever, whatever options are out, Facebook. I'm not sure. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to all that stuff. But we did develop those programs, and all of a sudden it hit me. now we are in all 77 counties because anybody in any place in the world can tune in. And so we were offering courses via Zoom. We actually have people taking courses with us who live in Washington, Virginia, wherever, because they can do that. And they might have some connection with OSU. So this is another way that they can connect with us. So now we're doing a lot of hybrid kinds of programming, both in person, on Zoom. It's amazing at the different ways that we're reaching people.
So the instructors are not all Oklahoma instructors then, if they're doing.
Well, we do have some exceptions. Yeah, most of them are, but okay. Some of them are people who were here that have moved elsewhere. At least one of our instructors moved to Utah to be near his daughter, and as a result of that, he's teaching from Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And another one is in Kansas, and was teaching from Kansas. So we're, with the technology that's available, people can be anywhere almost and teach classes. So we're forced to develop a kind of a new way of doing things as a result of COVID. I always say, out of every negative comes a positive, and that's just one example of that. At one time, we were offering all of our courses within a 6-week period. Now they're being offered we have a fall semester and a spring semester and a summer semester, but we're offering them at different times during those semesters. Some courses are like a one-time lecture. Some courses are a 3-week course. Some are 6 weeks. Some are 8 weeks. The downside there is we're not all coming together at the same time all the time.
So you're missing that.
So we're missing that. There is still some of it there, but it's not quite as present as it used to be.
Wow. Let's back up from the beginning.
Yeah.
When you were picking out what classes to teach.
Yeah.
And figuring that out, what would bring people
You mean
in?
back in OSHR or OLLI or what?
Yeah.
Well, I've always really liked to do that. So I'm very ecumenical in terms of, departments. I guess we can use that term. We usually use it in a religious way, but I've always had great respect for all other departments and have made an effort to get to know people in those departments.
Okay.
And so when we first started Elderhostel, I knew people that I knew were good teachers that might be willing to do a week course. And so I would contact them, and I would get an idea about what I thought we might, for lack of a better word, sell to people out there. So then we would put those together, and I ultimately found myself thinking the really best way that I will be able to bring people to Oklahoma is to develop a week of a theme week. And at that time we were offering, what did they call it? The singing near Christmas, the madrigal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You remember the madrigal? And we did the madrigal. And I thought, well, we're doing the madrigal. Why don't we just bring people here the week that the madrigal is being presented at the Student Union, and we'll offer, since the madrigal is kind of a medieval, moving toward Renaissance period of history, we'll offer 3 courses that relate to medieval Renaissance period in Europe. So I got someone in the English department to teach a course on a course. I can't tell you which course it was right now. I'll get it in a minute. Okay. Had someone do a history of that period of time, and then we had someone doing music at that period of time, which tied right into the madrigal. So that became a very successful program. We had people coming from all over the United States to Stillwater, where they stayed in the dorm and
Well, that
took
had to
classes.
be between semesters if they stayed in the dorms. It'd have to be between the.
Well, we were actually originally doing that during, let's see, when were we? No, we were not using the dorm at that point. We had used the dorms. We were using the Student Union Hotel.
Okay.
There we go. It took me a minute to get it all together. So they were actually able to do everything they were doing right in the Student Union.
Well, did those instructors get paid?
They did.
Ollie's.
No,
No.
well,
Okay.
those instructors did get paid a little bit, probably not enough, but they were willing to do it. And I think they all were pretty excited about doing it as a special program. So we did a lot of other kinds of programs, lots of other kinds of thematic courses at different times of the year. And at certain times of the year, we did use the residence halls. But and I was really responsible for all the programs throughout the state of Oklahoma. So we had about 20 different campuses participating at our peak. And so we had programs going, some of the programs were done on university campuses, and we had a really good program going at Guthrie because it is such a major, historically significant community, and we stayed in the hotel down there and had people teaching in Guthrie. But there were many others. We did some in state parks and things like that. So we had a lot of programs at that time with Elderhostel.
The logistics of all of that is just, I don't know how you did it.
Well, I had someone at each site, doing it. I helped them out, but they were responsible for doing the programming. I was just responsible for getting them involved in the program.
I'm thinking if you're in the tenure track, that's helping with your moving up the ranks. You could show national.
Yeah, and maybe, I mean, honestly, I did not become a full professor through what I'd call the normal process of doing lots of significant research. I did it through my teaching and through my, what we used to call extension work. I don't know if they're still calling it that or not. Most campuses call it service or, out doing things outside the university or outside the traditional university.
Outreach, I think extension is becoming more popular again.
Okay,
yes,
so good.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, great. I don't know, is that...
yeah, that answered it. And some during that time you were department head as well?
Yes, right.
Your plate was pretty full.
It was full, but somehow I made it through it for 4 years. In our department, we were at the point where we were sharing the department head over the years. We would do 3 or 4 years and then get somebody else to be willing to do such, how do I say it?
The administrative.
Yeah, right.
That's all. Sometimes not always pleasant.
Not always pleasant, right.
And I was reading, when you first got here, the department was going through a growth period.
Yes, in 1967, the whole department walked out from the university over some major problems between them and the dean.
The whole department?
The whole department, 66, 67. And so one person was left, and it was Gene Acuff, and he had to recreate the department. Because we were a department that was offering all the normal undergraduate stuff. We also had a PhD program, and so he had to develop it very rapidly. And I came in 70 as part of that development. And we developed back up to, I think at the maximum we had about 22 staff or faculty.
Wow, that's a lot in a little time.
Yeah, and we were able to maintain the PhD program and all of that. And we've had a lot of people go through here and get their PhD in sociology. And
that they developed tracks at that point, a gerontology track.
Yeah, we did develop, actually,
corrections.
When I was department head, we were told by the dean that we needed to focus.
Okay.
So we focused in kind of in the area of not really gerontology. We always taught a class in, we call it sociology of aging, but it was not a major focus. And so we tended to focus more on ecological, social ecology and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
A little more macro sociology, which I consider myself a macro sociologist and certainly not a social psychologist and all that. But even though we did teach social psychology in our department, and we did teach the sociology of aging, and I started, I had no training in sociology of aging. All of my training was in urban sociology, industrialization, social change. That was my focus at the very macro level of how societies function and move and create and evolve. But as a result of that interesting little grant and I also did a course in community development,
Okay.
community organization and development. And so, that whole grant that I got involved in really early was to really look at what we would call community and how communities evolve through people interacting with each other. So anyway, as a result of that, I ended up, and the person who taught gerontology retired. I picked it up since I was already doing research in that area.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? So that's I don't know when that happened. A long time ago, but I don't remember the exact time when that happened.
Yeah,
It was.
I was reading through about that time too. Corrections became.
Oh yeah, we did.
Our
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, it became corrections became a major part of our program, criminology and corrections. Basically, I mean, sociologists or a big area in sociology is criminology, and not so much corrections, even though that's a part of it. But corrections has become a kind of a major theme in that whole area of the social sciences, and so. Yeah, we did develop a corrections program, and we had a number of faculty who taught in the area of, the sociology of criminality and how and the institutions that emerged, the prisons and jails, and we used to take our students to the state prisons to let them see how the prisons operate. And to hear that door shut and clang behind them when they get into there. So that was another thing that we did a lot of. Thanks for reminding me of the corrections. That actually we probably had as many correction students as anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the focus is these days. I haven't looked. I don't know if it's that.
I don't know either.
You stepped away.
Yes, I stepped away. Almost, I think 20 years ago. That's hard to believe. But I know they're still doing it. And it is still a very popular area for students.
Well, in Oklahoma, it's still an issue.
And it's still an issue in Oklahoma, and there are a few other states, like most other states, it's an issue. And how we deal with those people who, become defined as criminals.
Well, before we get back to OLLI, I want to know what your first impression of Stillwater was.
Oh, okay.
When you came way back.
Okay, well, we came back in, I think, 69 maybe, or to interview. I remember flying in here and my wife saying, "Look at all those red ponds down there." The water was not blue, it was red from the clay. So I remember that was an impression, and I really had no intention of living in Oklahoma, but we were coming out to interview anyway. Got on campus, and the first impression was, wow, what a beautiful campus. This campus does not look like anything that is within my perception of Oklahoma. It looks like something right out of colonial Williamsburg almost. Not quite, but it's colonial. It's one of the most, there are other campuses like this, but it's one of the campuses that is so unified in terms of its architecture. They use what has often been referred to as red brick, or no, orange brick, not red brick, for heaven's sakes, orange brick, since our colors are black and orange, right?
Yeah.
Every building, virtually every building on campus has that brick in it, and most of them are somewhat colonial, or I think you call it colonial.
Yeah, I think so. I would say
Or post-
refer to George.
Or Georgian. Yeah, really, Georgian is more, yeah, you're right. That is a much better term, and I knew that. Yeah.
Which airport did you fly into, Tulsa or Oklahoma City? Because it wasn't Stillwater.
No, I think we flew into Oklahoma City, but honestly, I am not sure.
Well, I mean, that would explain more of the red ponds. Cause
Yeah, right, okay.
Tulsa would have more
Right,
trees in that.
right. And then the other thing was, where are the trees? Because we were coming from Knoxville, where I remember in Knoxville, I remember students coming from Memphis, which is not nearly as treed, it's flatter than a flitter, coming to Knoxville and feeling claustrophobic because of the trees. You know, you couldn't see the sky because the trees completely covered up the sky. You had to find a place to see the sky on the Knoxville University of Tennessee campus.
Yeah, now here you just see all sky.
You just get to see it all the time. And you begin to appreciate the beauty of the sky out here that, you know, it's probably less appreciated in other parts of the world.
You see the storms coming.
And the storms are coming, and there's the excitement of the potential of a tornado, even though in our 54 years, I can only think of 2 tornadoes that hit a part of Stillwater. I've only seen one looking out west that was going by Stillwater. I remember the one year, soon after we moved here, it did hit this campus. I don't know how many people know what a computer card is. You know, and the little
A punch card.
what about a punch card, whatever you call it. Well, I had those. All my data were all of my data were on those cards, those hundreds of cards that I had, and we were on the 4th floor of the business building,
Okay.
sociology was, and the tornado was able to pick up the roof enough. This was the 4th floor, was the top floor. Pick up the roof enough that my cards were just stuck between the wall and the ceiling around so that it actually messed them up. Luckily, I had pretty well finished using those data. But anyway.
That's proof that the roof came off.
Yes,
then.
and it did hit the El Central that year, and the fire station, the on-campus fire station, hit several things on that part of campus. But then one time in the eastern part of the city got hit significantly. I mean, one neighborhood. But, you know, really we hadn't had that. And I will say this, that most people, when they ask about living they find out you live in Oklahoma, they say, well, what about all those tornadoes? Well, I say, well, you know, they're not like hurricanes. They just kind of jump around and kind of skip around and hit some things and don't hit lots of things. Unlike a hurricane that destroys everything when it comes in. So there's no reason to be fearful of tornadoes, but that is an interesting perception of Oklahoma.
Yeah. So when you first came here, your office was in
The
what's the old business building now?
It is the old, what is it was the new business building then.
And then where else it's moved probably a couple of times.
Yeah, and then we were moved to the basement of the classroom building.
That's where I remember you.
Okay, I spent most of my time there. In fact, probably the first 5 years or so we were in the business college. Or we weren't in the business college, we were in the 4th floor of the business building. And then they moved us in the basement of the classroom building, which was real handy in that most of our classes were in the classroom.
Yeah.
But we said, we will move only if you will put windows in, because we were in the basement. So they did.
Okay.
Now there are windows with it's kind of what do you call they dug into there, and now you can look out and you see a wall, a concrete wall, kind of.
But light.
It is sloped enough that you can actually see the light and see sky and all that. So it worked out beautifully. I mean, again, I thought, where is there a better place to be with the potential of a tornado than to be in the basement?
That's true.
So even when my office was there, before we had a safe room in our house, we would go to my office when they say there's a potential for a tornado.
And then were you in that space when you retired?
We were, yes. Okay. So that was the only place that's where I spent the vast majority of my time. Okay. Like I said, it couldn't be a better location. You're like, probably at the most 500 feet from the library, 300 feet from the student union, and right in the middle of campus.
Yeah, I'd say the union had changed a lot from your.
Oh my gosh, yes, it has changed dramatically. It was actually at the time we came here. I think it was the second biggest student union in the United States. Only University of Illinois, I think, or maybe something. Not Illinois. Well, I don't know. It could have been Illinois.
I have no clue.
Anyway, it was the second biggest student union, and it offered lots of things at that time, and now a lot more.
Did it have a cafeteria?
It did. It had a cafeteria, and it was a very good cafeteria, and we enjoyed eating there. And it also was connected to the there was the what's it officially called, the hotel, the Atherton Hotel. It was connected to that when we came, so you could also go over there and eat in probably the nicest place to eat in Stillwater, the stateroom.
Oh yeah, probably so. Yeah.
There were lots of rooms to meet in the student union, and we often met there. That's where, when I was involved with Elderhostel, that's where we had all of our meetings.
And then the cafeteria came in handy.
And the cafeteria came in handy for that, and so it all worked out beautifully. It has changed a lot, though, but it doesn't look much different in a lot of ways, but they've done a lot of changing.
Change with the time.
I mean, if you were from then to now, you would walk in there and wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know where to go to do whatever. So they've done a lot of interior changes and some exterior, but it's always been a very outstanding building, offering so many things.
Gone from cafeteria to Chick-fil-A.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, Chick-fil-A and a few other. Let's see. There's a coffee shop in there. What is it called? It's the only one of that. It's an Eastern coffee house.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't think of the name of it. I just know that it's the only one that I know of. You see them a lot in North Carolina and Virginia, this particular coffee company, but we have one here. Probably the only one in Oklahoma.
So when you came, you thought you'd stay 4 years?
Yes.
So I guess at the end of those 4 years, what made you decide, okay, we're going to stay?
Well, by then when we came here, our son was 3 months old. He was actually born in Knoxville, and then we had a daughter here, and they were at the age that didn't seem like it. Yeah, they were started. We were thinking about school. Obviously, they're 4 or 5 years old, and we just became involved in the community, and became very much involved in the First Presbyterian Church. And I used to tell people that that was one of the things that kept us here. It's a very very good community of people.
And then got tenure, of course, and then you're here. Once you get tenure.
Yeah, once they got tenure and you're here. I did every now and then. I would get an option to apply someplace, and I did once or twice, but never went beyond seriously thinking about it.
So when it came time for thinking about retirement, was there something that just said, okay, it's time?
I'm trying to think, what really did, what was the inducement? I was actually only 63 when I retired.
Rule of 80, probably.
And
At least
yeah,
easily,
probably,
easily.
it did meet the rule of 80, which was what I've forgotten how we calculated that now.
Years of service plus age.
Yes, years of service plus age. Got
You
me
were
to,
past that.
I was
didn't you?
past that.
Way past that, yeah.
So anyway, that seemed like I don't know, it just felt like the thing to do. And maybe I felt like I had gone about like they say I'd gone about as far as I can go. And so the song in Oklahoma.
Well, your first month or two afterwards, did you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have?
I never thought about that in any way. I was very happy I had done that.
Okay.
But I had so many other interests, and I'm very involved in gardening, and I could spend full-time gardening, and very involved in our church, and very involved in just lots of stuff. And of course, by then, let's see, our kids would have been, I guess, can't even think whether they were out of college or not, but
2005?
I guess they were. And we were having, we had grandchildren, and as it turned out, our son and his family live about, 4 hours away in Springfield, Missouri, and our daughter lives an hour and 15 minutes away in Norman, Oklahoma. And they each had 2 children, and we were very involved in their lives. And so that took a lot of time too.
Busy.
Yeah, busy. And
then about that time, Ollie was picking
then
up.
about that time, Ollie evolved. Actually, it happened about the time I retired. And so I had I think I said I had a committee that we worked with, but they let me write the grant.
Do you want to say who the committee filed? I don't know who.
I'm not sure I can tell you all of them. One, Mary Fry,
Okay.
who recently passed.
Yeah.
And I've known her forever. Oh boy, this is terrible. I think Kara Beer.
Okay.
There
was a Bob somebody.
Oh yeah, he was in the College of Education.
Oh,
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I can't think of his name, and I know him really well.
Hendrickson, or is that?
No, he was not on the committee. He was very involved in
the Emeriti.
In the Emeriti, yeah.
I don't have another name.
But
okay.
I'm sorry. Those are the.
No, that's okay.
And it's embarrassing because you think, well, what about that person who was probably
was Esther? She probably wasn't.
She was. I don't think she was on the committee, but she was very involved in all of that. Esther Winterfeld, she was the head of my wife's department of nutrition.
Okay, she
was retired by then, but.
I don't have that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But Mary Fry is one of my very dear friends. Again, we were so sad of her passing at 95 or whatever. She lived a very long life, and both she and I would say that one of the most significant things that happened in our lives was about 30 years ago now. We had the opportunity through our church. She was also a member of the Presbyterian Church. To go to Cuba for 2 weeks. So we flew to Miami and then got on a plane to Cuba, and that was when Americans were not allowed to go to Cuba, but we went through the National Council of Churches and went there to visit a Presbyterian church there and to help them out in some ways. And that, for both Mary and me, it had an unbelievable impact on our lives to be with those incredible Cuban people. They couldn't speak English, we couldn't speak Spanish, but we worked out really well. And we got to see a lot of Cuba. And just the fact that we almost felt like we were doing what you're not supposed to do by going to Cuba. And I remember when we were going there, we got on the plane. There were about 6 of us, I think. All of us were, from the church here, we got on there, and all these people were just they were all Cubans, but they're going back to see their families. And they were wearing multiple coats and all kinds of things to take to their friends or to take to their family. So, they would leave clothing to their family, but they had to wear it. So they looked like they were going to
Alaska.
yeah. But anyway, that was interesting. And we were taking a lot of drugs,
Medical supplies.
medical supplies with us, along with some other things. We already had a connection with the pastor of that church, who actually got his doctorate at Austin Seminary down in Texas, Austin Presbyterian Seminary. And he was connected to our church. I've forgotten the connection exactly. We were sponsoring him, I think. But anyway, it was just wonderful. We got to eat all that great Cuban food and see all that wonderful architecture down there and meet so many people, both in Havana and the surrounding small communities. It was just marvelous.
Well, did the two of you do an OLLI class for your travel for that?
No, we didn't, but we did do some presentations.
Okay.
But we didn't actually do anything with OLLI, yeah. But she was very active with OLLI.
From the beginning.
Yeah, she was. She and I were sort of the perennial representatives. She represented the College of Education, and I represented Emeriti.
Okay.
And we were on the board. And then others were elected to the board from the different sites.
Okay.
So, but she and I were always there.
They never voted you
They
off.
never let us leave.
I guess some people chose to leave. I don't know.
Yeah, the people who were elected for a 3-year period.
Okay.
So there was some
rotation,
but she and I were the, what should we call ourselves?
The pillars. I don't know. What would you call it?
We had the knowledge, having been involved in it from the beginning. So we were kind of responsible for letting people know who OLLI, what OLLI is and all that.
Institutional knowledge.
Thank you, that's what I needed. Institutional knowledge, yes.
So do you remember where you were when you got the call that said, okay, you get this money?
You mean for OLLI?
Yeah, for OLLI.
Do I remember where I was? I don't.
Or if you got excited or...
I was very excited to get it because I thought for one thing, $500,000 seemed like quite a lot of money. And it seemed like we were excited about the fact that all the things we could do with that.
Including hiring a director.
Including hiring a director and stuff like that. So we did hire a director and...
do you recall that process?
I remember we interviewed people. I was on the committee to do the hiring.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the chair. The chair was Bob somebody from the College of Education. Oh my gosh, I know his brother and everything, but I can't even. I can't even his name.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay.
I should have looked it up.
Well, and I should know it, but my brain is so full of stuff. I can't always pull out what I need when I need it.
The only other one from over there I remember is Canada, but that's not it.
No, it's not him.
I don't know. We'll look.
Anyway, okay. But he's a really wonderful guy. But anyway, and we interviewed a few people and ended up choosing Ruth Ann Serbaugh. I don't know whether you know Ruth Ann or not.
I know Ruth Ann, yeah.
She had been working on campus in a number of different positions over the years, and she decided she'd like to do this. And so she came along and was a major factor in us getting where we are today.
A lot of logistics with her.
Yeah,
too,
a lot, yes, right.
10 years plus, wasn't it?
At least, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely more than 10 years because she was there until COVID. When was, let's see,
2019?
Probably about that time, yeah. She she didn't retire because of COVID, but she just retired.
Decided it was
Yeah, it's time to retire. And then we interviewed another person to be the second director. She came about the time that COVID started. So she really had a challenge.
Yeah.
She had this great program that couldn't do anything because of COVID. We couldn't get together, so she had to think of new ways of doing that. Robin, oh my gosh.
Davis?
Robin Davis, yes.
Does that sound right? Davis?
Yep. No.
I think.
I know her name. This is terrible.
Robin, I know it for sure.
Okay.
But Davis, maybe, I think it is Davis.
I think you're right, but this is terrible. I don't want her to know that I can't think of her name.
Well, we get the paper catalogs in the.
I got it right here, as a matter of fact.
Has it gone digital is my question.
It has gone digital, and not completely. This is the latest catalog.
Okay.
We have two catalogs a year. Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking Ruth Ann had to figure out how to make those back in
Yes, she did.
Back in the day.
And that's a costly part of the program. Developing, printing all this. Okay. Yeah, Robin Davis. This is so embarrassing when you can't think of. I know her very well.
We just call her Robin.
Yes.
You don't think about last names.
And she was able to pull it off through COVID. She was able to do what needed to be done. She's very capable of doing those things. So, I appreciate what she's doing and the staff that she now has that is keeping us going.
And you're still a member.
And I'm still a member, yes.
And do you go to many classes a year?
I go to probably a half a dozen, something like that a year.
Okay, all in Stillwater typically?
Pretty much, but 1 year they were offering a program that my wife and I just couldn't not do in Tulsa. So we commuted weekly to Tulsa to go to a program that was focusing on the Jewish, we'll say Jewish culture or whatever, I don't know. We met over in what's the name of that historical theater over there? Circle Theater? No, not Circle Theater.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I hardly go that way.
Well, it was a great experience going over there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just saying that is one of the options that you had. You can go to any of as a member, you go to any of these places. But now I'm actually working on a new program now for OLLI.
Okay.
That I haven't even told Robin about yet.
Uh-oh.
But we are working on I'm trying to come up with a program where we can get departments more involved. Because at this point, we don't pay people to teach. And so we're hoping to get some small grants that would help us maybe provide some resources to departments to encourage them to get their faculty involved more. And I haven't even written it all up yet. It's in my head, and I've shared it with one other person. But
well, are they having a challenge in to get people to teach then?
It is a difficult challenge to have. A lot of people who teach are people who are a part of, and in fact, early on, the whole idea of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute was people teaching people, or OLLI members teaching OLLI members.
Okay.
So, I taught several courses, and none of them were sociology. I've always been very interested and involved in our national park system. So I taught courses on the national parks. So, the whole idea is that now you can teach something that you've never taught before. So I did all that. But we have used faculty too, and we want to use faculty. But we understand the difficulty of faculty adding one more thing to their plate. So
junior faculty will jump on it usually, won't they?
Yeah, maybe so.
If they can count it toward
something, yeah.
Service.
It depends on the degree to which their departments think of service as being significant. I mean, there are, for a lot of people, it's research and teaching, and what they used to call the third the third leg on the table was extension.
Yeah, outreach. Yes.
Outreach.
Yeah.
So we're trying to develop. We're trying to develop programs that will get faculty more involved than they have been, particularly since pre-COVID.
So you're thinking about recruiting more teachers as well as recruiting more members.
Exactly.
So your work's not done yet.
That's not done. I can't seem to keep from coming up with ideas.
Yeah. Right.
Even though I'm 2 months away from 82, I just think, well, I'll just keep, as long as I keep keeping on, I'll be okay.
I'll aim for 102.
Yeah, right. But back when I was on campus, and a long time after I was on campus, I knew a lot of people on campus. And some of the rest of us did too. But now we're at the point, those of us who have been the longtime members, we don't know many people on campus anymore. They've all retired or passed on.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen an email come through that says, if you want to volunteer to teach, let us know.
And that needs to be done often, actually, at least once a year and maybe twice a year. And of course, then the other issue is we need to have these programs set almost a year before they're going to be offered. Yeah. Not quite a year, but certainly 6 months before they're offered. So, and there are often, faculty will say, well, I don't even know what I'm going to teach on campus, that semester, so I'm not sure how I would work this in. So another part of my thought is that we would be able to offer courses that would fit their time easily. I mean, my idea, I haven't even told the director yet, but my idea was that we provide some financial resources for the departments, but that the courses will be offered. It would be a hybrid course. It would be offered at, let's say, here in the Stillwater, like where we offer at several different locations in Stillwater. Offered in one of those locations. While it's being offered here, it will be beamed, or whatever the word is, to all of the other sites, and it will also be on Zoom so that people can, it's actually all members in all of the different locations would be able to take, I'm thinking to begin with, these 3 additional courses simultaneously.
Okay.
Through using the technology that is available. That is a cost that we need to find some financial resources for, but I think we can.
Not just your membership dues.
Membership dues don't do it. I mean, with that, just the promotion of the program is extremely expensive. We pay for most of the sites that we use.
Okay, so that's not. I wondered about that.
Yeah, like we meet at the public library, but we do pay for that time that we use the library. We use the community center some, but we pay for that. We are using the Legacy, Legacy Village, which is a place for older adults to live. Both what we would call the big house where the apartments are, and then they also have villas all around so people can live in those. Well, they offer their location for us to use for no cost.
Are you doing a service for them too?
Yeah. We are doing a service for them too. It's a symbiotically positive relationship. So, and then we have to pay for sites in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and I'm not sure, I think Martinsville too. So that takes a bigger hunk than you might think. And then there's the travel that takes place that we have to pay for. So what we do with the people who teach right now is we give them a free, what do we call it? It's a $200 membership. For $200, you can take all the courses you want all year. Or for $40, you can become a member and pay a certain amount for each course that you take.
Okay. So you figure out which one you're going to do more of.
Right, yes, exactly. If you're going to do, let's say, 6 to 8 or more courses, it's better to do the $200 thing.
So, and you have, I probably shouldn't ask this, but since you have taught college students.
Yes.
When you compare that type of student to the OLLI student?
Some would say there's no comparison. And part of it is a maturing process, I would say. People in OLLI are truly taking courses because they really want to take those courses. And also, they sometimes oftentimes there's a book that goes along with the course. In many cases, there's not. But they really want to take those courses, and they are much more inclined to be really good students, if that makes any sense at all, as opposed to a freshman, for example, who's here and is still clueless as to what they want to do. They're here and don't know really what's going on in many ways, and there are all kinds of things going on around the university that are enticing. And so, I can't tell you how many freshmen I have known that couldn't make it their freshman year. A few years later, they came back and they were outstanding students. But and I don't want to make too many generalizations here, but the reality is OLLI students are there because they really want to be there.
And they don't give tests.
And they don't give tests. They don't have to, It's just literally learning for the fun of it, which is kind of a theme that we think of, learning for the fun of it.
Wonderful. If you would get different results now, if you would go back and do your pre and post thing that you did way back. Yeah.
In 74 or so, whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know if they would get much difference.
I think it would be actually, I did a post study of that whole thing with the same people, and many of them had kind of gone back to their original, more negative stereotypes of the other age group. That the point is, if you're not in continuous interaction with other, let's say, categories of people, for lack of a better word, you sort of lose that positive perception of that other group, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, it's, if you're with each other a lot and getting involved with each other's lives, it's very positive. And probably part of it becomes a very personal thing. Where when you're just, reading about old people or other racial groups or what have you, and not really having any connection with those others, you begin to kind of get back into the tendency to think in negative stereotypes.
Okay, speaking of that then, so what's the correct term these days? Is it senior citizens, older adults, elderly? What is it?
I am not sure there is a right term. You hear it all. Yeah. I have chosen to use older adults.
Okay.
I'm pretty well with that, and that's what I would use, and I think that's the best term to use. Elderly carries all kinds of negatives with it.
It does. Frail and such.
Senior, that can mean so many different things. Seniors, it can mean older people. I mean, seniors are also people who are in their 4th year of high school, and what have you. So I've just, as a long time ago gerontologist, I have settled in on older adults.
Okay, I figured I should ask you that because I need to know.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that's the common usage in gerontology classes now or not.
You're their authority in this room.
Okay, yeah, I think that's by far that ideal one. Again, elderly brings up more negatives than positives in people's minds.
Right.
Seniors kind of meaningless.
Senior moments.
Yes, senior, but we do talk about our senior moments, and I have a lot of those, so I understand exactly what that is. But I'm very comfortable with older adult.
Okay, I'll get in the habit of using that more too. I had switched back and forth between seniors and older adults. But,
and I don't. It doesn't really matter. It's just I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. And there's different formats for OLLI. You've got your lectures.
Yeah.
You've got your travel.
Yeah, we have.
Whatever you call
back when the grant was written, we said there would be a traveling aspect on that, and that was one of the harder ones to get going. Actually, when I was thinking travel, I was thinking of kind of local things like day trips, which we did many of. That was fairly easy to work out. Trips, maybe multi-day trips, or 2 or 3 night trips someplace, like going up to Kansas City to see the World War I museum and a few other things up there. There's a lot of interesting, or go to Dallas to do something or what have you. Yeah. And then the hardest one to come with is to do a 10-day or something where you're going. Well, there's one now in that's being offered for next fall, a trip to Ireland.
What, through OLLI?
Through OLLI, yeah. And it's connected to a travel organization. So it's sort of where a travel organization can work with you to help create that. It might even be, a lot of colleges do this, where it's a trip someplace, but it ends up being made up of multiple, say, alums from different colleges.
Oh, okay.
Or in this case, multiple people from different parts. It's not just OSU OLLI, it might be more than that. So you might be meeting people, new people, as you travel with them. And this program, I think, I'm not sure how many days it is, I want to say around 10 or so, to Ireland.
Oh, that would be.
And they're going to cover, I think, most of, try to cover geographically most of Ireland, at least along the coast going around.
I'm thinking they need to take into account people's ability to walk very, long distances or not long distances.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
But
a lot to go into.
It would be much like, I think, like in, again, what used to be Elderhostel, but now is, just lost it. Here we go again. Road Scholar.
I like Elderhostel better.
Road Scholars.
Road as in R-O-A-D.
R-O-A-D is
okay.
Travel, Scholars.
Not the R-H,
But then, there is the R-H-O-D that I think played into that whole thing. And I do know the present CEO, he was with Elderhostel. So, they have in their programming, they identify what level of activity their programs offer. Some of them will be, they have like, I think, a 1 to a 4. And a 1 would be not much, some walking and things like that, but no more than that. And other might be taking a hike from one side of England to the other side of England.
Okay.
And, are doing some major kinds of physical stuff.
Kind of like activity levels.
Very activity, different activity, extreme. And they identify, every one of their programs is identified as 1 through 4 or 5.
I'm thinking if it's just in the Stillwater area, you still got to think about if you need a wheelchair or
right. Yes.
If you need first aid, all that stuff.
Right, and in all of the programs we've tried to make it as inclusive as possible. There are some cases where you might be doing something where someone who's wheelchair bound just there's just no way that they can be a participant.
Yeah.
But there's always an effort to maximize the inclusiveness of whatever we do.
Okay, have you got a good handle, or at least back then when you were
Yeah.
at the beginning of this. Did you have more men or women?
Typically more women than men.
And then average age? Like demographic
Probably around, in these programs, probably around 70.
Okay. Still quite active by that.
Oh, yeah.
By this.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I'm almost 82 and I'm very active.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much I can't do. I choose not to run anymore. I choose to walk. I have a little more trouble getting down on my knees when I'm gardening than I used to. I can't pop right back up, but you know, it can
getting
be.
Down's easier than getting
Oh
up.
yes, exactly. Yeah, getting down, you just kind of fall down. But getting up, you have to. It's kind of nice to have somebody to help pull you up. But you know, there are many older adults who are very active, and who are very capable of being active. So.
Okay, so.
And
70s.
so, but we don't want to leave out those others. So we try to always consider the logistics of a program and how we'll be able to make it available to people who are wheelchair bound or just can't, use stairs very well or what have you.
Okay, then the other question would be classes that just flopped.
Yep.
Versus ones that you can't believe there's that many people interested in this.
I know, like we have, I would say, as long as I have been involved in this kind of stuff, which has been a long time, I think I've probably started in 78, started getting involved in originally, Elderhostel, and then there would typically be one class, and sometimes maybe more than one, that would maybe draw 100 people, and other classes that wouldn't make.
Okay.
And so we just have to be aware that that's the case. It generally has nothing to do with who's teaching it. It has to do with, well, no, I'm sorry, it does have something to do with the ones that are real successful have to do with who's teaching it. And I can remember, we can offer, a certain person can offer a class and they'll be inundated with people. I mean, that's just so typical in all the programs I've been, whether it would be, the Elderhostel program or the OLLI programs. And there will be others that there's just not that much interest in that particular topic. But we have, back when we were offering, we were offering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 classes a semester, okay? And I don't think we ever had a class that didn't make. Okay. Some of them might have as few as a half a dozen and the other 100. But they all made. Now we're offering so many different things that we are having some that don't make.
Okay, so is there a cutoff point? Like, does you have to have 6 or more?
Honestly, I am not sure what the cutoff is, but I know we run with some pretty small numbers. As long as I think it might have a little to do with whether the person who's teaching wants to teach 6 people or not. Some people say, "Oh, I love to teach 6 people as opposed to 100."
Well, what's been some of the most popular ones? If you get more, 100 people interested in them.
Well, we have
political things, maybe.
Yeah, there are political and history.
Oh, history, of course. Yeah.
Politics.
Cooking.
What?
Cooking.
Cooking.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've never done a lot of that. We've done some. Art is usually, it kind of depends. Literature courses do well. Art kind of depends somewhat on the art, I think. We used to have an art history course will do very well. Of course, courses where they're actually learning a particular art or whatever craft or whatever. You don't really want very many. I mean, we'll say this is limited to 12 people because there's no way in most cases to do a course like that. So a lot of those, if they have 12 people, they're full.
Oh, that makes sense.
But we've had the most recently, we have a course. A person actually who has taught courses she's taught courses on the CIA. She was a retired CIA person, and she's teaching it here and in Tulsa, I believe, this semester, and I think we had 80 enrolled here, and I think 40 or so enrolled in Tulsa. So part of it is the topic, but part of it is we know she is great, or he is great, or whatever. Certain people can teach a course and people will be there.
Well, and I would imagine sometimes the teacher would need to remember that they're not teaching college kids. It's actually their audience is a little different than what the college
absolutely, I'd say. And I would say that most people who teach, let's say most people who are still teaching here that teach there, find teaching in OLLI much more satisfying than teaching a class on campus. And again, it's because the enthusiasm is there almost across the board. You don't have anybody falling asleep or looking at their phone. They're all very involved in what's going on.
And don't skip classes.
Don't skip classes. Many of the people who participate are also very active in other things. And I know we haven't taken some courses sometimes because it was during a time that we were traveling someplace. So we might, if there's 6 courses, this is being offered 6 times, we might get to 3 of them and then be, gone for the other 3. So that does happen some. Not everybody is always there, but generally everybody is always there.
Making that commitment, yeah.
Yeah.
But was there ever a point where you guys thought, oh, we've had enough, we're just going to close it down?
Close OLLI down?
OLLI, yeah.
No.
No?
Even though I must say, we were very challenged during COVID. Robin in this case had to get very active in how we can present this differently.
Yeah, I guess you couldn't just not have it because you didn't want people to
we didn't want to not have it.
That was an option.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's like every other institution that I've ever known. You have a certain collection of people, usually a pretty big collection that starts out, but over 15 years, a lot of them pass on or get to where they can no longer participate. And so, they are so committed, those original people are so committed that, and I think a lot of organizations end up this way, they have such a good group that they forget that they need to continue to be building with new people. And that gets harder to do all the time, I would say. But I told people, I am so happy when I walk into a class and I don't know many of the people there, because I know that we got a lot of new people.
New blood.
Yep.
So who are you training to be your replacement?
Nobody. Someone will come. And, I feel like I've done pretty much what I need to do.
Well, you said you tried to step away, but they wouldn't let you.
Well, I don't know if they wouldn't let me or whether I wouldn't let me. Might have been a combination of the two.
Being the liaison between the Maritime Board and the OLLI Board, though,
right.
Yes, you're still it.
Actually, I am not still it. We do have another person, but I'm still on the board.
Okay, 2 different things. All right.
So I'm just kind of,
okay.
I'm kind of the, I look at myself as kind of the person who can answer those questions about how did this all get started?
Yes.
The questions like that.
Yeah.
We are still having to recreate ourselves in terms of organizationally of who we are. OLLI, when it started, had to be, by requirement, a program that was developed and maintained by the members.
Okay.
We had bylaws and all that kind of stuff. Well, COVID just kind of destroyed all of that. And so we really haven't gotten back to where we're using the bylaws now. and more of keeping it going ends up being pretty much on the shoulders of the director. Mm. And originally it was supposed to be the director was supposed to be functioning at the will of the. Okay. And there's it has everything to do. I contend everything to do with COVID, and we have not been able to rebuild that. It's much more. Robin has to keep it going as opposed to we have to keep it going.
Well, does the mothership OSHR have anything to say about?
They've been somewhat open to a lot of the changes that's taking place. And we're not the only OLLI. Yeah. There are probably about 130 programs nationally now. Robin tells me, the directors meet annually someplace in the U.S. And she tells me that this is an experience that all of them all of the sites are having.
And no one's found the solution.
Nobody's found the solution, but we're working on it, and surely we will at some point.
Does OU have one too?
They do.
They do.
In fact, I wasn't going to say this, but I will. Back when OSHR was trying to get programs going in every state, mm-hmm. they selected a university in each state, at least one. They had several in California and some of the bigger states, but at least one, they contacted them and asked them to write a proposal. Mm-hmm. Guess who they asked to write a proposal? OU. University of Oklahoma is probably better known in some ways than Oklahoma State University, which I don't know if that's true or not, but it's sort of the go-to from someone sitting in California. The go-to is the University of Oklahoma. So they asked them, and that's when I called my friend and said, we would like to write a proposal for this. What would you think? Could we do that? And she said, yeah, send it in and we'll see what happens.
So they gave it to both of us.
So we both OU and OSU sent their proposals in the same year.
Okay. And both got approved?
And both got approved, yeah. They did not get their second million.
Okay, that was my next question. Okay. Not yet anyway, huh?
No, I don't know that they're even trying at this point. I don't know. Yeah.
So when you got the second million, do you remember that day?
No.
Were you in Oklahoma, or did you get to go to California?
No, I was here.
From them to say.
I was here. I've actually never. Let's see. I have never been to the offices in California.
Have you met him, Bernard?
I have met Bernard Osher. Yes, I have heard him speak. I have met him at. I did go to an annual meeting, one of the early annual meetings. It was in outside of Atlanta. At a conference center or something, and he was there and did do a presentation. So I did get to meet him, and I did get to meet the person who is we'll call her the CEO, and I already knew some of the other lower level administration, like the people who, the person that I knew best that was involved in the program. She was actually at one point, the state director of Maine, the state of Maine, so I got to know her pretty well. And I actually invited her to, well, let's go back for just a minute. The Maritime meets monthly, pretty much monthly, maybe not in January. And every May program, OLLI is responsible for that program.
Okay.
So one year, I think that was right. I got her to come to make a presentation. She came here and did a presentation. Now, was it with Maritime or what? But I think it must have been. Yeah, it was Maritime because yes, we met over in the. Yeah, right, the alumni, whatever you call it, yeah. Yes, we met over there, yes, and she did a presentation. At that point, she was pretty much in charge of making sure that all programming was going well throughout the country. So, and different times I've done a program on OLLI at that time, and we've had other people come in and do programs.
Give an update on the
Right,
progress or
right.
whatever.
And then this year, Robin Davis actually was this past May.
Oh, who's doing it this May?
I don't know.
You again?
I don't know. I tell people I don't do any of those things anymore. I'm enjoying myself just sitting back and watching things happen.
Well, it sounds like it took the person in Emeriti to poke it along, and then you to actually put in the elbow grease.
Yeah, I mean,
to get
actually, yes. Dr. Beard, you know Dr. Beard, who was vice president here for many years. Ron was the Emeriti president that year, and he wanted to get it started. So he was the catalyst to get Emeriti involved in doing the programming.
And then you knew who to call.
Right.
To get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And willing to do it.
And willing to do it, and I'm happy to say it's done. Now we just have to keep it going.
Yeah,
and
that's your next hurdle.
I think we will. I'm pretty positive.
Well, how would you recruit new members now? I mean, then I know you just probably word of mouth and newspapers. Yeah, newspapers, TV. You know,
TV. I've been on Tulsa TV and Oklahoma City TV, and other people have, so we've used that. There are some public. Tulsa has a really good publications that goes out to a large number of older adults, and we advertise in that. Okay. Still, word of mouth is a big part of it. You know, it's always word of mouth. I think in every program has always been the number one reason that it survived. Yeah, and someone say, "Oh, this was a great program." Yeah, you need to participate. Yeah, but we still have, you know, this catalog that comes out twice a year goes to a large number of people. Do you have everyone that's ever been made? I think I have all of them. Well, don't pitch them. If you decide you want a new home for them, I'll see if archives. Okay. And it's part of OSU history. Yeah, I mean, I would be happy to do that. They're just sitting in my house right now. If you want a new home for them. Yeah, I would love to do that. That's a great idea. I might have missed one or two, and of course the ones we had before this kind of a publication. We're not as slick. I mean, it's very professional. I know back in the early days, back in 07, 08, if you were teaching, you'd have to give them a little bio and your photo. Right. And we're not doing the photo anymore, but we are, and we're really on this, we're not doing much of a bio. In fact, that was someone just said, I wish we were doing that just recently. We do more of a bio online. Makes sense. And the goal is to become much more online dependent. Right. And, you know, there's still people who think older adults don't do online. That's not true. Most older adults are very sophisticated online. And you can do it from your couch. And you can do it from your couch, right. And now you can even participate from your couch because we're doing so many more things on Zoom and what have you. And we also make these available at different sites. You know, there used to be a person responsible before COVID, and I don't know whether we've gotten back to there or not, for making sure that we have these at several different churches and at several different workout places and, you know, places where older adults come to do whatever. So, you know, down at the Senior Citizen Center, things like that. So there's just a lot of different ways that we try to reach out and make people aware of it. It's still amazing at how many people haven't ever heard of it. But that's true of virtually every program I'm familiar with.
Yeah. So people don't know what we do, so
Yeah,
I understand.
I mean, you just kill yourself trying to get the word out, and still 90% of the people have never heard of it.
Well, now there's less newspapers.
Yeah,
Or
not nearly as many.
delivered anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know how often. I know I'm pretty sure we advertise on KOSU and things like that.
Yeah.
And actually, probably the majority of people who end up wanting to be involved in these kinds of programs are probably people who listen to NPR and watch PBS, and it's people who are they're just sort of socialized to want to learn. And not everybody is in that category. I mean, some people have no interest in learning. So it's definitely a select group within the older adult population.
Learn how to play bridge or something.
Yeah, and we actually do teach bridge. I know they teach. They do those kinds of things. So I used to always say that Elderhostel taught liberal arts courses, but we are branching out and doing what, in my mind, don't fit particularly liberal arts courses. But we're doing that, and they're popular. So, I mean, any kind of learning of anything is fine with me.
Okay, then tell us about town halls. They're different from classes. So
Yeah, okay.
Town halls.
That's my idea.
Okay.
I thought, and I knew about it from other things. I mean, Tulsa has had a town hall for years. Do you know about that? I mean, it's offered down at the, what's the major center where the orchestra plays and all that.
I know where
You know where I am, downtown.
Yeah.
They have been offering what they call a town hall program for years for the city of Tulsa. And I think that's where I got the idea. And I thought, we can do a town hall, something like a town hall. Can we call it that? I don't know. But we do. And so we started doing that. And the town hall was kind of a potpourri of things. It didn't have a theme like a class would have. So we would bring originally pretty much different faculty in for a one-time presentation. And my thought was always, if this really goes over well, we'll see if that person will teach a class.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was part of my thinking.
It's an audition.
Yes, it is, exactly. And so it also was a way that we were, okay, it's quote free. I mean, if you become a member, you get to go to town hall for no cost. You don't have to pay anything extra for that. And it also is, we have used it over time as a way of introducing OLLI to people. Like, friends say, why don't you come and join me for, a town hall? And so they'll come and, then they can be sort of massaged as a possible new member.
Yeah.
But now we try to always bring at least one person from the city, maybe a city planner or someone that's involved in some aspect of the city of Stillwater. So that's usually a program that relates to that in some way. We also bring in not just faculty, but maybe someone to talk about a kind of some program on campus, like what your program. That would be a great thing. And maybe, have you done that before? I can't remember.
Not a town hall.
No, but that's, we try to make it a potpourri of things.
I'm thinking President Hargis or Halligan or.
And we have
someone like
typically one of the people that we brought is the president of OSU.
I bet that's well attended.
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
And President Hargis was very supportive of OLLI. And in fact, he even visited the national office. He was out in San Francisco and visited the national office.
Wow.
He played a major role in getting OLLI off the ground and making it aware of people.
And probably at least for the second million then.
Yeah, right.
Get his name.
Yeah, right.
His name.
And to my knowledge, the same CEO as the CEO today was the original CEO of OSHR. And by the way, Bernard Osher, he wanted to do programs, educational programs, to make sure all states were covered. And he also put a lot of money into health-related programs. So he supports, health-related programs around the country. And even, I think his wife is from Sweden, I believe. And I think they're even doing some things in Sweden along those lines. So he had two things in mind: education and health. Healthcare, maintaining a healthy life.
I can see some crossover there.
A lot of crossover. Yeah, a lot of crossover. A lot of our health is based on our, and of course, a lot of our, healthy people participate in learning, and people learn to be healthy.
Now, mental health.
And mental, and they always say that a lot of one's functioning well as an older adult is their willingness to learn and to use their minds, use their brains, whatever.
So you're still doing that, obviously.
Yeah, I can't seem to quit.
So what time do you get up in the morning, Ed?
Oh, it varies. Usually about 6.
Okay, and then call it quits at what time at night?
It used to be about 10. And my wife is she sleeps a little later, but she stays awake reading a lot later. And she's gotten me into doing some reading in bed, which I've actually read is not great. It's not something you should do. But, and particularly, you shouldn't do it on a...
Yes, because of the light, on the iPad or anything.
But she does, and I do sometimes. So, we don't always go by the rules.
Burning the midnight oil some
Right.
nights, huh?
Yeah, right. So, yeah, that's it. I have more than once been awake at midnight. And maybe then I'll get up at 7 in the morning, but not usually still 6.
And your days
Sometimes 5.
And your days are pretty full?
Yeah, they're pretty full. I mean, doing something, we probably watch too much TV during that day. We watch a lot of PBS stuff, a lot of, we are literally addicted to Sunday night PBS. Can't think what you call it, all those different programs that go on. There's a name for all that. Mostly British stuff.
My mother-in-law was hooked on the British comedies.
British comedy or British, all kinds of Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, there you go. I recognize that.
Yeah, we watch that religiously. And very seldom do we watch one and say, I don't want to see the rest of that. I don't want to see, we've seen one is enough. Most of them we find ourselves getting into. Some of them are in another language, and that's always, for me, a bit of a challenge because, I'm listening to them speak in French, but we do have the
closed captions.
The subscript or whatever you call it down here.
Yeah.
But that means you're trying to watch it and read, and for me, that's takes more energy sometimes than I want. But there's some really good French and German and programs from all over the world that are really good to watch. But
I guess that gives you some ideas on what you could do for a class.
Well, yeah, that could happen too, right? Yeah, I have that happen sometimes. So, so we're continue to be very active down at the Presbyterian Church.
And you probably go to the Maritime meetings?
We do go to the Maritime meetings. I do quite a bit of gardening, and I'm not a good sitter generally. Even if we're watching things, I'm up and down, probably drive my wife nuts. I've decided that's good for me. Sitting is not good for you, continuous sitting.
Yeah.
So I don't do the kinds of programmed physical activity that a lot of my friends do, like going to the gym. I've tried that and I do it, but then I don't do it. I've never been, I guess, fully committed to it.
Just take a walk around the block.
Yeah, I just take a walk around the block or around the yard or whatever. Or up and down and up and down.
And no steps. You don't have steps in your house.
We do.
Do you?
We do have them, but they're not.
Something you have to do all the time?
Not something you have to do, yeah. Actually, that's our offices and all that are upstairs. And one of our bathrooms is upstairs.
You can have a reason to go if you want to then.
So there is, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
My computer's upstairs, but I find myself spending a lot more time on my iPad than on my computer.
Yeah.
I've just recently gotten a, what do you call them, a mobile computer. Oh my gosh.
A laptop?
A laptop, thank you. See, I just can't come up with the most common of terms sometimes. But a laptop. Andrea just decided that
it was time.
it was time. So she doesn't have what she said she decided we needed new computers. And I said, why don't you just get me a laptop?
Yeah, you can go wherever.
Then I can sit down and work on it.
Yeah.
Rather than going upstairs. And I don't mind going upstairs. In fact, a lot of times I just walk around the house for an hour just as a way to get some
get some steps.
Get some steps in. And I have my
Your watch.
My watch that
time to stand up.
And it tells me when I've walked a mile and how many minutes it took and all that stuff.
Time to stand up.
Yep, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure it is. We've been sitting here long enough that it's time to stand up, right?
We have. I think I've covered a lot of stuff too. Is there anything that you think we need to that I haven't?
Oh gosh.
You were on the curriculum committee for Stillwater.
Yes.
I guess you still
I still meet with that committee. Yeah.
Okay. You're still recruiting.
The committees have become more who wants to be on it. It used to be people were, quote, elected to be on it. But that has kind of fallen by the wayside, again with COVID.
Then.
Yeah, and it's more volunteers, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm still on the board that meets.
Okay, here's some names I had. Sydney Redding.
Sydney was on the board.
Lynn Sister?
Sisler.
Yeah.
Lynn Sisler, she was on the board early on. She did work some at the beginning. Yeah, she was very involved.
Kara Beer.
And Kara, yeah.
And then Larry Perkins. I don't know if he's on the board, but he's taught.
He has been involved. Yeah, he's taught. He's been involved in different. I don't think he ever was on the board.
He was in your department too.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And then, not to do with Ollie, but Patricia Bell was in your department too.
Yeah, Patricia was
one of the first African American
on campus, and she was department head at one time. She has passed several years ago. Sorry to say. Much too young, soon after retirement.
That's how it goes.
So I know, right?
Don't retire.
But she certainly, yeah.
Do you remember much about that time? When was she accepted, or?
I'd say she was, generally speaking, accepted. Yeah.
I mean, across the campus, not.
Oh yeah, I think so. She was she was definitely present when she was present. Okay. So she was not a, what do you call them? Someone who doesn't have much to say, which I can be that sometimes. A wallflower. She is not a wallflower. I can be a wallflower sometimes, believe it or not. Yeah. Just sit back and listen to other people.
Me too. You learn a lot that
way.
Yeah,
you do, exactly.
Yeah.
She. I would say she was well accepted on campus. I don't think there were ever any issues.
Yeah, I got the impression the transition here on our campus was easier than on some other.
I think so.
Other campuses.
I think so. Right. Yeah, I think this has been a really good campus overall. It
might be easy for us to say sitting on this side, but
right. But no, I think I've heard. I can't tell you how many students I have had that have gone to OU and OSU and say, OSU is so much friendlier.
Yep. It feels like home a lot of times too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know, that's just, it's kind of almost a difference in culture. If we can use that term, that might be a misuse of the term, but there is there's a culture that emerges on a campus, I think.
Is this the first time you've been back on campus? In the library?
Let's put it this way: I am on campus every now and then.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, it's the first time in a long time, not the first time since I retired to be in the library, but the first time in a long time that I've come into the library. Okay. And so I came in a little early just to kind of walk around, and
where are the books go?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, how things have changed.
A lot of books have gone to the off
to the whatever they call that.
The lab.
Storage.
Library annex building.
Okay.
But they have a courier, so
they can come back really and forth.
Quick. Yeah.
But we have. I was looking while I was looking around. I was looking at the way in which the number of volumes in the book has increased. There was down on the second floor that shows the increase in volumes of books since 1940 something. That's what this graph was showing. And it's just like it was kind of level for a while. I mean, it never level, and then all of a sudden it just like zooms up.
Yeah, a lot of ebooks now.
And now ebooks, yeah, it's like there's a point where I'm sure there are people out there saying, "What's a book?"
I miss the card catalog.
Yes, I do. I find that very disturbing.
Yeah, seems much more fun to go through the cards.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it is a very different world, and I would say, to go back to OLLI, just the people in OLLI, most of them are pretty adaptable, and they are interested in learning the new ways of doing things, but the old way still looks kind of good sometimes. Yes, I love the card catalog.
Yeah, and the smell. The library used to have a unique
it's kind of
smell, I guess.
That's a good point. It doesn't have that anymore, does it?
No, I don't notice it.
I mean, you could be blinded and walk in and say, I'm in the library because of the odor.
Yeah, it's not there.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and certainly on the first floor. Are there any books on the first floor?
First floor.
Other than there was a display of books, of new books, as you enter from the south side.
And the checkout circulate. And the second floor is just whatever's in the rooms.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be able to function without some educating in the library right now, because I haven't made use of it like I should have, probably. I mean,
you've done just fine.
And I have so many books at home. And I gave a lot of books to the library. I don't know if that was a burden or a positive, but they took them.
They like to take them and then keep what they need.
So maybe sell some or do whatever. I don't know if they ever were able to do that.
They do various things with the ones that we don't need.
Right. Well, yeah, because there are probably a lot of the same books, for one thing. But I remember, I've forgotten who it was that came over from the library to look. Was it you?
Was it me? It was probably David Peters, maybe. No, it wasn't me.
No, I don't think it was David. I mean, I actually had David in class back when he was a student here, so I've known him forever. But I don't remember who it was. But someone just came to kind of look at my books and see if they were something that.
Yeah, it would have been in your subject area. So
right.
I'm not sure.
And I don't know whether
my memory's not good either. So.
No. But.
And 05, who that would have been.
I don't remember either, but whoever it was came over. They said, "Yeah, we'll take them." And then I've given a lot to the public library, which they sell, they basically sell those at their book sales.
As long as they don't end up in the dump.
Right, exactly.
That's the point.
And then I found myself over there and said, "Oh, I wish I still had that book. I need to look at that book for something."
It's probably online somewhere.
Yeah. Even when I gave them, I thought, I can always go to the library and get this book if I need it.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah, in theory, right.
I don't know that we can count on. I mean, you can interlibrary loan if you want to actually.
Yeah, that's true.
If we don't have it electronically.
But I still have enough books at home that, I'm sure I don't really go to the public library like I should, because I just have so many books at home. I just thinking, well, I've got to read these books. I have them on my bookshelf. I need to read all of them. And there are several that I have not read. I'm slowly reading. And then I get books. You know, our son gave me books for Christmas, and I'm reading this new book it's called G-Man about J. Edgar Hoover. It's a really interesting book. I didn't know much about him. I've developed a more positive attitude toward him from reading the book.
Well, that's good.
But it doesn't, you know, it's not one that just sugarcoats him. It talks about him in all aspects of his life. It's really interesting.
Well, that's good. Do you have a favorite, since we're talking books, do you have a favorite book of all time?
Oh, a favorite book of all time.
Yeah, if a good librarian questioned that.
Okay. I mean, there is one that, thinking if I can, I hope I can give the name of it. The Great River. It's about the Rio Grande. It's kind of an historical thing. Culture just kind of follows the Rio Grande geographically, in every way. Okay. I think it's called The Great River. It's about that thick, and I've enjoyed reading that. I'm sure there are many others, but that one just hit me when you asked the question. That's a question like so many. What is your favorite?
Do you still have it on your shelf?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never been good at coming up with favorites. Like, what is your favorite ice cream? Oh, I like a lot of different ones. You know, a lot of different books.
My favorite book, I guess, if someone asked me, is Walden's Pond, and that goes back.
That's a good one. And And you know, there are a lot of books that have had an impact on me, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think you've probably read more than I have.
I doubt it.
Librarians don't have time to read.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have. I'm a slow reader.
Me too. Maybe.
So it's like, and I think Andrea is much faster. She says, well, it's because you read it more deeply than other people. But I think it's just because I'm a slow reader.
Well, on that note, Ed, is
Yes.
there anything else you want to tell me that we haven't covered? Funding, it was membership, the grant, and probably College of Ed, and maybe some OSU funds in there, at least initially.
Yeah, initially there were some presidential funds in there.
And now it's primarily.
Now it's pretty much, we no longer have any funds coming from what was the College of Education.
Okay. So it's
we don't.
membership.
I mean, even when we wrote that, in the original grant, we had to identify support locally. And so the College of Education was in there for so many years, and the President's Office was in there for so many years. All of those years are gone.
Okay.
So now we're totally dependent on
the interest from the money.
Right. The interest from the money and the membership. Yes.
Don't need sponsors at this point.
Well, we are going to start looking for sponsors because I don't know. I think costs have gone up beyond and particularly we've gone from 1,000 members to 400.
Okay, that makes it.
And that's
significant.
Yeah. And again, I don't think that would have happened without COVID.
Yeah, COVID has positive and negatives.
It does.
Doesn't it? You learn the technology because you have to.
Exactly. So that's the positive, but the negative is I just know of what a sociologist calls voluntary associations, which are churches, civic groups, any group that your membership is volunteering, that all of them are having difficulty now.
Yeah, and one of the pluses from OLLI was the social interaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to say the courses are sort of at the center of the table, but a huge amount of this is people getting together and communicating and learning from each other. They come for the courses, but they end up during break time or whatever learning from each other.
And making new friends, I would imagine.
And making new friends. Yes, I mean, I know a number of people who have come here, maybe their son, daughter, both work at the university, teach or whatever, and they retire to here to be closer to their kids. And you know, I mean, a lot of them find things like OLLI being a way that they are integrated into the larger community.
That's a plus too.
Yeah, right.
I think Stillwater's lucky that you jumped on that and said, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to, yeah, it was.
Lead the charge.
Yeah. And now I'm ready to follow. I say that, and then here I do.
Not yet, Ed.
I guess I'm not there yet, huh?
No. And you're a proud Tennessee alum, so.
Absolutely, yes.
Me too, so I'm glad we ended up in another orange place.
Yeah, right. And, yeah, I've been almost orange all my life, actually.
Yeah.
I was actually red in high school, but that was the last time I read. It might be a different orange, but it's an orange.
It is.
My Tennessee orange doesn't quite match.
That's a little more yellow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little more subdued than the brightest orange. I think maybe the president was responsible for the use of that term.
Hargis, probably.
Hargis, yeah, I think Hargis. I should have said Hargis instead of the president. But
yeah,
he was one of the presidents I remember. Of course, there were others too, like Halligan.
Well, you were here for quite a few different ones then.
Yes, Halligan. What do let's see who.
I was thinking Calm is what was coming to mind.
Calm was here when I came. He was the president here, and I did get to know him pretty well. He was a very fine person. And between him and Halligan was.
I almost said Campbell.
Campbell, yes.
Is that right?
It was Campbell, yes. So there was, Calm, I think that was it, Calm, Campbell, Halligan, and then Hargis. And then
Smidley was in there somewhere for a little while.
Oh, that's right. That was a short-termer.
Yes. Yes. He didn't stay long.
I forgot about Smidley. But yeah, he was here for a while.
For a while.
I would say Calm and Hargis are very Calm, and then Halligan. I was going to say Halligan and Hargis were very different in many ways. They were all very different in many ways. I shouldn't even say that, but and I think each one brought strengths that were different from the others and interests that were different from the others. And one of the things I really appreciated about Hargis was that he had a great love for music, and he really allowed our school of music to blossom. And we have a really good school of music now. It's always been good, but it's really good now.
Well, since that was your freshman major.
And that's where I started. Yeah, I find music to be very important in my life. Yeah, even though I somehow moved away from it.
Well, music gives us joy and fills our souls.
It does, yeah. And I always said, I think the reason I wasn't a committed enough musician to be a really successful musician.
So what did you play, or did you sing?
I was a voice major, but I also played clarinet and saxophone.
Okay.
And in high school, I had a dance band, and we played. I
can't picture that. Okay.
We played what we would call big band music of the 40s, and we just played for high school dances and things like that. But I kind of started that. I'm kind of a starter, but not a finisher sometimes. Myself and several of my friends, had a trumpet, a trombone. I played mainly sax and clarinet, mainly sax for that, and a bass viol, and a pianist and a drummer.
What'd you call yourselves?
This is terrible.
No,
I'm not sure we had a name.
Oh, okay. Didn't perform too much.
But we enjoyed. It was just a fun thing for us to do. And then, of course, even in college, I sung in the choirs and all. I played We didn't have an orchestra at Union, but we had a classical band, so the clarinets became the strings basically in the band, and so I played. Actually, I think I played a number of different instruments. I played bass clarinet. I mean, if you can play a B flat clarinet, you can also play an E flat clarinet and a bass clarinet and an alto. And if you play, I played alto sax, tenor sax. Never played a bass sax, but
Boots Randolph comes to mind.
I loved my saxophone.
Yeah.
But I love my clarinet too. I don't play either one of them anymore.
Well, maybe you pull them out, playing for the grandkids.
It might have to be the grandkids. All of my grandkids are in college. And you know what? I'm not even sure that my clarinet would fit together.
Yeah.
I'd have to get all new
Reeds
cork.
and reeds too.
Oh, definitely new reeds. And my embouchure is probably so weak, I couldn't really do a good job, playing it. Because that embouchure is very important, the way you hold it,
So just enjoy other people.
So I just enjoy other people, yes. And I've had two kinds of music that I've always loved, classical and jazz.
Okay.
Those are my two favorites.
Not country, huh?
Never been into country, but I don't mind it. I mean, there's a beauty in every kind of music, I think. I have a little hard time with hard rock sometimes just because it's dangerous to your head, to your ears. So I never got into hard rock. But I loved classical. I loved any kind of jazz, from very progressive jazz to very modern, to Dixieland jazz. I love music that some people would say is not music because it doesn't have a melody. It's just the beauty of these the sound that so many different instruments can make. So
you appreciate that.
I love it. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I do appreciate country music.
I think banjo's my favorite.
Oh, banjo's great. Yeah, I love banjos.
As long as you're not singing, just play it.
Okay. And I love folk music. I grew up on folk music. Actually, I mean, along with that was the popular music. Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Well, what took your parents from Memphis to Missouri?
I think what happened is my dad, he was working with Universal Credit Company, and I don't think he loved his job. And he had an opportunity to go to Sedalia and start Tom's Peanut Company. Do you know what Tom's Peanut is?
I know what that is.
Yeah. So he started that. He started selling Tom's Peanuts products. And then he became just he sold, candy, tobacco products, over-the-counter drugs and all that to small little stores in the small towns around Sedalia. Sedalia's not that big. It's at that time it was only about 25,000. But there are all these smaller stores, and I would go with him in his truck. Oh. So and then he ended up going to work in a men's clothing store. And so I got involved in that, and I worked throughout high school in a men's clothing store. And my parents pretty much ran this men's clothing store in Sedalia. And that's what he pretty much retired from. Well, no, he actually from there, he became in charge, what's the word? In charge of a department store in Muskogee, Oklahoma. About the time we moved to Stillwater, just a little before that, he moved to Muskogee to be in charge of
manager or whatever.
A manager. Yeah, thank you. See, simple terms. Manager of a department store that was mainly clothing and silverware and china and all that kind of stuff.
Those have gone by the wayside.
They have gone by the wayside, yeah. But that's where he retired from there, and then then my uncle was building apartments in Tucson, so he moved to Tucson, and he and my mother managed apartments.
So you were the first generation to go to college?
I was the first generation in my whole family, to go to college. I was the first of my generation. I'm the oldest of my generation. I have about 30 cousins, and I was the first to go to college. I was the oldest and the first to go to college.
And was it assumed you were going, or did you say, Mom and Dad, I'm going?
I was always kind of a nerd, So I think I just always assumed that, and I don't know that I got pushed by them, but they certainly were very supportive of it.
Okay.
But I just always liked learning, and so I think I just...
And you knew you didn't want to be a salesman.
I knew I didn't want to be a salesman, even though I've done my share of it.
Yeah. And you sell OLLI some, so...
Yeah, right, so I do...
those skills come through.
I mean, actually, I guess in some ways a professor is a salesman. They're selling their knowledge and hoping that somebody will bite and choose to do that too, keep it going. But I never imagined being a professor. I totally fell into that.
Well, in college, high school days, you knew you were going to go?
I knew I was going to be a minister of music in the Baptist church.
And that was it, okay.
And
wow, what a different plans.
Yeah.
Someone had a different plan for you.
They certainly did.
Yeah,
and I really feel like I was too gregarious to spend my time in, this is the way I analyze how things happen. I was too gregarious to spend as much time as I needed to spend in a practice room all by myself.
Mm-hmm. You're more social.
I'm more social than that. Yeah, I got very involved in my fraternity and all that stuff. And I was very involved back then in the Baptist Student Union. No longer a Baptist, but at that time I was. I often say that's when Baptists, before they became what they are, they became what they are today, in my mind, which is they've gone off of the side of a.
Yep, they have. I would agree.
I mean, when I went to a Baptist college, that's when I first seriously learned. I always did, but seriously learned to take the Bible not literally. I learned through taking New Testament and Old Testament by these very sophisticated professors of religious professors that talked about how these things didn't happen the way they said. These are just, we have to kind of think of what is in the Bible as sort of a history, but also teaching us major truths of life and not teaching us that things happen exactly this way. That the Red Sea did what it, opened up the way it did. There were just natural processes at work there. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So I learned it. I went to a Baptist school that taught me how not to take the Bible literally.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Now today, I don't know if that's true or not. It doesn't seem that way. It just seems like they've gone off the deep end and they've lost everything that I think they had.
Yeah. That's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, exactly.
Knows more than me.
Exactly, but I'm very happy in a very, what I'd call progressive liberal church.
Okay.
Where you can, you don't have to think, you can think of it the way it works for you.
You just know the difference between right and wrong.
Right, exactly. And as I say, to be accepting of all of humanity. Our church is extremely inclusive. We actually had a gay pastor for a while, so that we're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And all the other inclusiveness that we can talk about. I guess I used to tell people I'm probably really a Unitarian because I think that all religions have certain truths. None of them are better than others. And, you know, a fundamentalist Christian or a fundamentalist Muslim or a fundamentalist whatever would say we're the only ones. And I just look at it all as just different ways of trying to understand the world that we live in.
I think sociology was a good fit for you.
It worked for me, yeah. It worked for me, yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, so
sorry again.
Oh, no, you're fine. My last question will be, how do you want people to remember Ed Arquitt?
Oh my gosh.
When history's written about you, what do you want it to say?
Oh gosh, that's
a big question.
Okay, I want to be thought of as someone who accepted all people, no matter what, and could find the best in each person. I have certainly done my share of criticizing over the years, but I think critical thinking is good, but I don't think criticism is good. And I think every human being has some positive things to offer all of us, and we just have to find those things. You're gonna make me cry talking about this.
No, you're doing it.
And you know, I didn't make a name for myself, which is fine. Most people don't. I did what I could do, and I've been accepted. And I certainly have lots of reasons not to be accepted, but I just want to be thought of as someone who appreciates everybody.
I think you did make a name for yourself within the OLLI world, the OSU OLLI world anyway.
Yeah, right. And I actually did in the OLLI world too. They actually, there was a book written about OLLI, and they asked me to write one of the chapters.
Well, there you go.
So I do have a chapter in the book. It's kind of a book on it's a kind of a philosophical, historical book about OLLI, and they asked me to write a chapter on that. So.
And then as a professor, you have touched so many lives that you don't even know.
That's true. We don't know
who or how.
Right. And every now and then I run into somebody that has something to say about that, and I always say, well, I had a little success there.
Yes, you did. You got me through my PhD program, so I enjoyed your class on sociology of aging.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so.
And it was, I don't consider myself an outstanding intellectual. I mean, some people are really intellectuals, and I'm kind of inclined that way, but I don't think I didn't do a lot of publication. I got involved in all these other things.
You didn't have time, no.
I didn't have time for that. And maybe I didn't really want to do it. And so I don't have many things out there that I published. There are a few things, but nothing significant. And I'm okay with that.
You've been good to humankind, so you've been kind to humans. So
okay, yeah, that's been my goal. And the few times that I don't feel like I was kind to human, I'll always remember those things with horror. And I remember there's one woman in my class that drove me crazy.
It was not me, was it?
No, it's just, and I was really, in retrospect, I wasn't very nice to her. But I remember the awful things, the two or three, there were very, very few that I remember like that, but boy, I remember them more than I do all of the positives.
That's human nature, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so what brings you joy these days?
Certainly my grandchildren, and they've all been very successful. They're all in college. We're going to, my grandson, who's the oldest, we're going to his, he'll graduate from George Washington University with his second master's.
It's okay.
And he graduated from Tulane with a master's and a bachelor's simultaneously. And I'm very proud of him, and he makes me feel good. And all my others too. All of our kids went, his sister went and is still at College of Charleston. Those are my two daughters' kids. and the two oldest, and then the next oldest one is going to Rice now. She's a freshman at Rice. And then the youngest one is, she's a sophomore at Rice. The youngest one is a freshman at Baptist School in Texas. Oh my gosh. Baylor.
Competition some
Yeah,
days, but
right.
yes.
So
A Baylor Bear.
she's a Baylor Bear, and they all have been very successful students, and that makes me happy and it gives me joy.
What do they call you?
Grandpa.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Call me Grandpa. Grandpa and Grandma. So I guess, that's those. There are other things that give me joy too, but those really give me joy. Flowers give me joy. Watching something go from a seed to a full-blown flower gives me joy. Traveling gives me joy. Going to places I've never been.
So what's on your bucket list?
Oh,
What's your next place you want to go
my
to?
bucket list is still full, but it's harder to.
No, the next place you want to go to, though.
Well, the next place we are going to in May, we'll take 3 weeks. We're going to the graduation at George Washington University, and then we're flying from there to Boston, and we're going to do 3 weeks in New England. We have hardly ever been to New England.
In the springtime, that would be.
Yeah, I've been to Massachusetts many times because I've been to Boston many times, but never been to Maine, New Hampshire, or Vermont. So we're going to do 3 weeks kind of there in that area.
Just meandering along.
Yeah, right. And I was going to do Quebec and New Brunswick. I've not been to either Quebec or New Brunswick, but I decided we cannot do all this. So we're not going to do those things.
Niagara Falls, no, that's New York.
That's New York, right. We'll do other falls, but not Niagara. The goal is just to not hurriedly go, but spend about 3 days at each of several different places.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And I'm just telling myself, it's okay if I spend more money than I should. We're going to stay at really nice, New England inns.
You've already got it all planned out?
Most of it. I haven't got it all, but most of it planned out.
Okay.
I've got the where we're going. I haven't gotten all of the places we're staying nailed down yet.
You're driving?
Yeah, we'll drive. We'll rent a car and drive. And I don't know when. Andrea has some lung issues, so she says I don't know when won't be able to travel anymore. So she doesn't want to plan too far ahead. But I have always wanted to go. I've been barely into our Scotland, but I've always wanted to go to Scotland and see more of Scotland. So we might go to Scotland. We do a lot of Rick Steves tour. Do you know Rick Steves?
Mm-hmm.
We've done 10 of Rick Steves in Europe, and they're all full right now. But I'm on the wait list for this fall to go to Scotland, and we'll see if that happens.
Oh.
If it does, fine. If it doesn't, fine. I'm just, and I have never. There are about 5 states I've never been to. We'll hit 3 of them this time. And I've never been to North Dakota. I've never been to Oregon. Can you believe that?
Not to now.
I've never been to Idaho.
I've been to all 3 of those, but not much of them, just barely.
Well, yeah, I've been to a lot of places barely, but I kind of like to. This is stupid, I think, but a lot of people feel this. I'd kind of like to see that I at least put my foot in every state, but I think I might never get to Connecticut. I've been to Rhode Island, Massachusetts, but I've never been to Connecticut.
Boy, you're up in that neck of the
I know,
woods.
and I was planning on it, but I thought, oh no, it's not that important. I don't have to put my foot in Connecticut. I can do okay, not do it.
Maybe there's a train you can hop on.
Well, I could do that, maybe, yeah. But I think I might just forgo Connecticut. I've been to every other state. Been to Rhode Island, I could have put my foot in Connecticut then. But anyway.
You got plans.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, we've pretty much gone to, as far as outside the U.S., gone to Europe or Canada, and I haven't, a lot of Canada I haven't seen. But been to Costa Rica. But other than that,
Find an elder hostel in these places.
yeah, I could do that.
Bingo.
Right?
Yeah.
Or we have, there's some other things too that do a lot of international stuff. But at the same time, you know, at almost 82, Andrea says you're not 82 yet, not till June the 1st. But I know that there is a limit.
Not till you decide there's one.
That's true.
You keep going as long as you feel like
Yeah,
it.
and so far I've been, and I don't use this term much, but I will use it right now. I've been blessed with good health.
And you don't always have to be the one behind the wheel.
No, and you don't.
That's the
And I'm
thing.
okay with that. I'm still kind of okay behind the wheel. I mean, last year we went to France, mainly because our grandson was in Paris doing stuff with his master's. And so we went there to see him, and then we took him to a couple of places in France that he had not been, we had been. And then, but we rented a car, and I'm thinking, do I still want to drive in Europe? So we went to mainly Britain. We'd never been to Brittany. And Andrea had always wanted to go to Brittany, so we'd been to Normandy, but never been to Brittany. So we drove up and drove through Britain. Not all of Brittany, but enough of it. And I did okay. But I'm still questioning it, you know? I mean, I've driven on the left, you know, I've been to Britain and driven on the left side, and that's not a problem. So it was not an issue, I didn't think. And a lot of people think, oh, you can't drive, but yes, there's no big deal.
No big deal.
It's easy to do. But anyway, I keep, every time we just talk about that, I think, oh, I don't think I need to drive anymore like that. But Andrea just pushes it until I agree. And it always works out.
Yeah. Well, I hope that all works out.
Thank you.
And we'll close out, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank
and what
you.
about you?
Thank you for taking time with me
Yeah.
today.